In the sweltering heat of a new American era, President Donald Trump, re-elected in January 2025, unleashed a storm that would echo across oceans. His executive order, signed weeks after his election, demanded the deportation of 35,000 African immigrants, unskilled workers, students with expired visas, and failed asylum seekers. Western media branded them burdens, their lives reduced to headlines. But in Burkina Faso, a young leader named Ibrahim Traoré stood defiant, his voice a beacon in the chaos. They were cast out not for crimes, but for color, he proclaimed. Africa welcomes her children, even the forgotten ones. This is their story. The first planes touched down in Ouagadougou under a sky thick with dust and promise. The deportees stepped onto the tarmac, their faces etched with weariness and cautious hope. Families gripped tattered bags. Young men and women, some in faded college sweatshirts, scanned the unfamiliar horizon. They were met not with rejection, but with open arms. Burkina Faso's government had prepared for this moment. Ibrahim Traoré, the nation's bold president, had vowed to transform their exile into opportunity. "You are not burdens," he told them, his voice resonating through the crowd. "You are builders." Among the arrivals was Amina Diallo, a 28-year-old computer science graduate from Senegal. Her U.S. visa had lapsed in Chicago, where she'd survived on odd jobs, always looking over her shoulder. Now in Ouagadougou's airport, she clutched her worn laptop bag, whispering, "I didn't choose this. But maybe it's a start." Nearby, Kofi Mensah, a Ghanaian construction worker in his 40s, adjusted his cap and muttered, "Let's see if Traorés' words hold weight." The deportees were bussed to the outskirts of the capital, where the people's rehabilitation zones awaited. New communities, not camps, built for a second chance. The zones were a testament to rapid ambition. Rows of brick houses lined dirt paths. Communal farms sprouted green. Solar-powered training centers hummed with possibility. Each family received a small plot. Single adults shared dormitories. Vocational schools offered skills in coding, farming, and renewable energy. Amina enrolled in a cybersecurity course, her eyes bright at the sight of gleaming computers donated by an Asian tech firm. Kofi joined a construction team, his calloused hands laying bricks for a new school. The world took notice. International headlines praised Traoré as the savior of the exiled. News outlets ran glowing stories, their cameras capturing smiling children and bustling markets. But beneath the surface, a shadow lingered. Captain Moussa Koné, head of Burkina Faso's internal security, paced his office, his scarred cheek twitching with unease. A lean man with instincts sharpened by years of counterterrorism, he sensed trouble. "It's too smooth," he told his deputy, Lieutenant Awa Traoré, no relation to the president. "These NGOs, these donations, something's not right." Awa, sharp and vigilant, nodded. "That European group, Connect Africa, sent satellite internet equipment last week. Free routers, tablets. No one's checked them yet." Mousa's suspicions had roots. Connect Africa, based in Brussels, had flooded the zones with free devices, promising to connect the disconnected. The repatriates embraced the tech, using it to call relatives, share stories, and start small businesses. Amina, with her tech savvy, was thrilled. Her tablet came with an app called AfriConnect, where she posted about her new life. "This is hope," she typed one night, her fingers dancing over the screen. "Burkina Faso is home." But oddities crept in. Her tablet battery drained too fast. Apps opened unprompted. She dismissed it as faulty tech, but doubt gnawed at her. Kofi, too, sensed something amiss. Overhearing hushed talks among repatriates, he learned of side jobs from Connect Africa, easy tasks like mapping wells or recording conversations, paid in dollars. "No questions asked," one young man whispered. Kofi frowned. "Sounds too good," he muttered. By the next month, the zones were thriving outwardly. Farms yielded early crops. Training centers buzzed. Traoré toured the settlements, his speeches broadcast live. "You are Africa's future," he declared, his voice soaring. Crowds cheered, but Moussa, watching from the edges, felt a chill. A technician had just flagged unusual data traffic from Connect Africa's routers. Moussa called a covert meeting. "We're being watched," he said, his voice low, urgent. "The routers are sending data abroad. We need someone inside the zones, someone who knows tech." Awa suggested Amina. "She's skilled, loyal. The U.S. betrayed her. She won't betray us." Amina was summoned to a nondescript office. Moussa was blunt. "The NGO gear is dirty," he said, eyes locked on hers. "Data's leaking. Can you find out how?" Amina's pulse quickened. This wasn't her world. Espionage, shadows, but she nodded. "I'm in. I'll need access to the data center." Within days, Amina was deep in the zone's data center, her laptop glowing late into the night. She traced the router's signals, uncovering hidden protocols buried in their firmware. The devices weren't just connecting, they were collecting. Keystrokes, chats, locations, all funneled to foreign servers. The AfriConnect app was worse, logging every tap and word. Amina's stomach churned as she realized the scale. "They're spying on us," she whispered, her voice trembling with anger. She reported to Moussa and Awa, her findings stark. "It's a surveillance net. They're profiling everyone. Repatriates, locals, even the government." Mousa's jaw tightened. "This isn't aid. It's invasion." The question was who? Amina's traces pointed to servers in Brussels and Virginia, but she needed more. Moussa tasked her with identifying repatriates working with Connect Africa. "Be discreet," he warned. "We can't alienate them. They're victims too." Amina returned to the zone, her tablet now a tool of resistance. She joined AfriConnect chats, listened to whispers. Kofi proved invaluable, pointing her to a nervous repatriate named Kwame. "He took their money," Kofi said quietly. "Feels guilty now." A week later, Amina intercepted a chilling message on AfriConnect. "Phase 2 begins soon. Prepare for extraction." Her heart sank. Extraction of what? Data? People? She shared the message with Moussa, who escalated it to Traoré. In a secure bunker, the president listened, his face a mask of resolve. "They deport our people, then use them against us?" He said, his voice low, dangerous. "We don't expel our own. We fight smarter." His plan, "Truth shall return," was taking shape, a counterattack not with force but with cunning. Amina looked at the repatriates around her, their hope so fragile. She vowed to protect it. The air in Burkina Faso's people's rehabilitation zones hummed with purpose, but beneath the surface, a shadow war brewed. Amina Diallo stood in the data center, her laptop casting a faint glow as she stared at the intercepted message. "Phase 2 begins soon. Prepare for extraction." The words chilled her. Were the West spies coming for data, for people, or for Burkina Faso's future? She glanced out the window at children playing in the dust, at Kofi Mensah hauling bricks for a new clinic. "We're not pawns," she whispered, her voice fierce. "Not anymore." In a fortified room beneath the presidential palace, Captain Moussa Koné briefed President Ibrahim Traoré. Maps lined the walls, marking the zones and their tech networks. Amina's findings lay on the table. Connect Africa's routers and AfriConnect app were siphoning data to servers in Brussels and Virginia. Mousa's scar twitched as he spoke. "It's called Operation Double Mirror," he said, his voice a low rumble. "The NSA and European Intelligence Agency are behind it. They're profiling our people, habits, politics, even plans for a regime change." Traoré's eyes blazed, his calm facade masking fury. "They deport our kin, call them burdens, then turn them into spies," he said, his words sharp, deliberate. "And this NGO, Connect Africa, hides behind charity?" Lieutenant Awa Traoré, Mousa's deputy, slid a stack of leaked documents across the table. "The app tracks everything," she said. "Chats, locations, voices. Some repatriates are paid to collect data. Small tasks, big money. They don't know the full game." Amina, invited as the whistleblower, spoke up, her voice steady despite her racing heart. The app has a backdoor. It sends encrypted packets hourly. I can trace them, but we're running out of time. Traoré leaned forward, his gaze locking on Amina. What do you need? She took a breath. Full data center access. And we can't punish the repatriates. Most are innocent, used like tools. Traoré nodded. There are people, manipulated or not. We fight the masters, not the pieces. His plan, truth shall return, took shape. Counterstrike not with force, but with exposure. We'll use their own weapons, he said, a spark in his voice. Media, tech, truth. Let the world see their game. Over the next week, Amina became a shadow warrior. By day, she taught coding in the zone. By night, she dissected Africanex code, tracing its data to servers tied to a Brussels front company and an NSA contractor. She identified 20 repatriates taking Connect Africa's payments, young, cash-strapped, tasked with mapping markets or recording speeches. They're building a social map, she told Moussa, her voice tight. They want to predict our reaction to something big. Mousa's jaw clenched. A coup, he said. They're testing the ground. Mousa's team moved with precision. Instead of arrests, they held community talks with the paid repatriates. Kofi Mensah, who'd rejected Connect Africa's offer, helped Amina reach Kwame, a nervous Nigerian in his 20s. In a safe house, Kwame fidgeted as Moussa spoke, his tone calm but firm. You're not in trouble, Kwame. Tell us everything. Kwame's hand shook. They paid me $300 a month, he said. Record Traoré's speeches, report on the zone's mood. Said it was for development. I needed the money. Moussa nodded. You're not alone. Help us, and you help Burkina Faso. Kwame's confession was a breakthrough. Connect Africa had recruited dozens, maybe hundreds, across the zones, collecting data to destabilize the country. Leaked documents, smuggled by a disgruntled NGO worker, revealed Operation Double Mirror's endgame. Use repatriates to sow discord, gather intel, and prepare for a coup. The extraction Amina had flagged? A plan to pull key operatives, repatriates turned spies, out before escalating. Amina's heart sank as she read the documents. They used us, she whispered to Kofi. All of us. Traoré launched his counterattack days later. He called a press conference, broadcast in 4 languages, French, English, more, Fulfulde, across state television. The nation watched as he stood at a podium, flanked by Amina, Moussa, and repatriates like Kwame. The West has played a cruel trick, Traoré began, his voice steady, commanding. They deported our people, then used them to spy on us through so-called charities. He held up a Connect Africa router, its sleek shell glinting. This is no gift. It's a leash. Amina stepped forward, her pulse pounding. She'd never faced a crowd like this, but her anger fueled her. I found their code, she said, her voice clear, defiant. Their apps, their routers, they steal our words, our lives. But we're not their tools. The broadcast flashed Amina's screenshots. Africanex backdoor, data streaming to foreign servers. Repatriates share their stories, small payments, vague tasks, growing guilt. Kwame's voice broke. I thought I was helping. I was wrong. The evidence was ironclad. Leaked emails, server logs, Amina's analysis. The broadcast shook the world. Social media erupted. Hashtag Truth Shall Return trended across Africa. Western media stumbled, their denials hollow. Connect Africa claimed technical glitches, but Burkina Faso's evidence. Code, documents, testimonies was undeniable. The U.S. and EU couldn't respond without admitting guilt. In Washington, black congressmen, led by Representative Jamal Carter, spoke out. We deport black people, then spy on them? Carter demanded on air. What's there to defend? Traoré didn't stop at exposure. He rallied the repatriates, turning their skills into weapons. Amina led a team to purge the zone's networks, replacing Connect Africa's routers with secure systems from a friendly Asian partner. Repatriates, like Kwame, joined cyber ambassadors, teaching communities to spot digital traps. We're not victims, Amina told a group of teenagers, her voice fierce. We're guardians of our home. The zones pulsed with new purpose, not just rebuilding, but resisting. As the deadline for Phase 2 approached, Burkina Faso was ready. Mousa's team watched the borders, but no operatives fled. The broadcast had rattled Connect Africa. Their servers went dark. Amina intercepted a final message. Abort Phase 2. Exposure risk critical. She grinned, exhausted but triumphant. We stopped them, she told Kofi, now a community liaison. He clapped her shoulder. You stopped them, Amina. We just kept up. The ripples spread fast. Mali, Niger, and Ethiopia audited foreign NGOs, finding similar trackers in free tech. Soon after, a coalition formed, Africa Against Cyber Spying. At a virtual summit, Traoré addressed African leaders, his voice resolute. Our data is our strength, he said. Our people are not pawns. We stand as one. The coalition demanded transparency from Western aid, sending a clear signal. Africa was awake. Weeks later, Traoré spoke at a UN conference, Amina and Kofi at his side. Africa is not a dumpster, nor a data mine, he declared, his words cutting through the hall. Our people are not tools. We know now, and we will never forget. Delegates from the global south rose, applauding. Western diplomats squirmed, their leverage slipping. The world was listening. Back in the zones, life pressed on. Farms flourished, training centers thrived. Amina, now a cybersecurity trainer, taught her students to question every gift. Kofi led patrols, ensuring no new devices sneaked in. The zones weren't perfect. Resources stretched thin, old wounds lingered. But they were home. The repatriates had found purpose, not as spies, but as builders of a stronger Africa. Under a fading sun, Amina stood on a hill, her tablet powered off. She thought of her lost life in Chicago, then looked at the zone. Children laughing, crops growing, Kofi directing workers. We're not forgotten anymore, she said softly. Kofi nodded, eyes on the horizon. And we won't be tricked again. The wind carried their words across the fields, where the unseen return had sparked a new dawn.